Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
This debate is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I know everybody's pumped about it, but it's not going to happen. It happened this morning, and at Fox News, they announced it as it was breaking. Joe Biden finally accepting Donald Trump's challenge to debates sooner rather than later.
I'm Dana Perino. This is America's Newsroom, and I am popping some popcorn for this because the president responded to calls for a debate showdown in a new video this morning. Watch him here.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
So a dig there at President Trump, who has been tied up in court for his criminal trial, except on Wednesdays.
So the Biden campaign following that video with one more specific or a few more. They're proposing dates in June, one in September. A lot of holes to be filled in here, by the way, okay? Here's Biden's campaign comms director on MSNBC last hour.
We should do it in June after Donald Trump's criminal trial is likely to conclude and after the president returns from the G7 summit. And then we should have a second debate in September, well ahead of early voting begins. So again, that the American people can hear from both candidates before they go cast their ballots. That's what we should be doing in a 21st century presidential election. And the president's ready to do so. I think the question now becomes, will Donald Trump keep his word? Will he step up to the plate here? We haven't heard from him yet, but we'll be waiting all day.
Here's what Donald Trump said on Truth Social. I'll read it for you. Crooked Joe Biden is the worst debater I've ever faced. He can't put 2 sentences together. Crooked is always the way. Wait, do we like that he's just... His name is Crooked Joe Biden, but he calls him Crooked for short. Not Joe, but Crooked. Crooked is also the worst president in the history of the United States by far. It's time for a debate so he can explain to the American people his highly destructive open border policy, new and ridiculous EV mandates, the allowance of crushing inflation, high taxes, and his really weak foreign policy, which is allowing the world to catch on fire in quotation marks. I'm not sure why that's in. Oh, because he doesn't mean literally catch on fire. Okay. I'm ready and willing to debate Crooked Joe at the 2 proposed times in June and September. I would strongly recommend more than 2 debates and, for excitement purposes, a very large venue, although Biden is supposedly afraid of crowds. That's only because he doesn't get them. Just tell me when. I'll be there. Let's get ready to rumble. Oh, am I okay saying that? Doesn't the guy who owns that sue everybody who says that phrase? Well, I was just reading Donald Trump, so don't come after me. And I didn't say it the way he says it. I didn't do the whole, I didn't do that. I can do that, though, by the way. It's one of my party tricks. But if I do it when I'm broadcasting or live streaming like this, they'll sue me. $10,000 a pop. Did you know that? Yeah. That guy who used to be a ring announcer who came up with that. He sues people for using it. He trademarked it. But I digress. This debate is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I know everybody's pumped about it, but it's not going to happen. I just don't believe it. And I'll tell you why in a moment. But I do want you to show you this video one more time that Biden released, because there's something really telling about it. It actually proves to you one of the reasons why I think the debate will not happen. This is 14 seconds long. This is 14 seconds long. And watch it with me, because together we're going to count the edits.
Come here.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate.
2.
Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again.
3.
Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
5 edits in 14 seconds. This show is 60 minutes minimum. No edits. Except for moments like that, which after the fact might get edited out. But still, I'm curious how many takes it took to get this 14 seconds of gold from Joe Biden. Do you wonder how long he was standing there delivering this simple message? He even got the make my day thing wrong. It's not make my day. It's, you feeling lucky? Go ahead, punk. Make my day. But he probably couldn't get that right. So they just try. It's like, all right, screw it with the rest of it. We'll just say make my day. We're never going to get the other part right. Okay. We got lives here. I got to get home to my kids, Joe. Or should we call you Crooked? All right, so 5 edits in just 14 seconds. and he could barely get that through. I mean, he still garbled half of the words. It's not going to happen. Everyone's excited. Sean Hannity is excited. Here was his initial reaction.
This made my day. This made my morning. This is great news if you're Donald J. Trump today for a lot of reasons. And if I was President Trump, I'd say, why not make it June, July, August, September?
Yeah.
Let's have 4, Joe. Really make my day. You want to have a debate? Let's have debates. And I think this is phenomenal news for a couple of reasons. One, I think that Donald Trump will wipe the floor with him. And I don't care if we get the State of the Union jacked up Joe with caffeine, Red Bull, or whatever, or we get regular Joe that could barely walk off the stage last night.
It's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for President Trump. I get it. It's a great opportunity, except that it's not going to happen. And I'll tell you why it's not going to happen. I know I'm making you wait for this, but it's pretty logical if you think about it. What's really at play here, because hidden in all of this is, I'm going to give you a hint. I'm going to give you a hint as to why this isn't going to happen. Because the really big news about the debates is not that Joe Biden put out this heavily edited 14-second video, seemingly accepting the challenge of debates. No. The really big news is that they are bypassing the Presidential Debate Commission, the so-called nonpartisan, which was very corrupt and very partisan, debate commission, to set these debates up themselves, just the two campaigns. There's no third party involved in negotiating the details of the debate. It's just the two campaigns. See, that's the big story that they're not telling you, or is getting buried, because everyone's excited. Well, that's an indication that this debate is not going to happen. I'll get more details for you in a minute, give you my opinion, but I like to give you facts and information first before giving you an opinion. I know that's not what you see on cable news, but we do it different here.
Caroline Leavitt, Trump 2024 National Press Secretary, here in studio. Good morning to you. Initial reaction on this is what, Caroline?
We are pleasantly surprised that Joe Biden has finally accepted and acknowledged President Trump's challenge to debate him. We have long been saying President Trump is ready to do this anytime, anywhere, any place. President Trump has already responded to the news this morning of Joe Biden's acknowledgement of this challenge, saying he sounds great on the June date, sounds great on the September date. However, it is interesting that Joe Biden's handlers said they don't want a large audience. They understand that Joe Biden cannot speak to a large crowd. That's why all of his campaign events are very controlled. They're also obviously very fearful of the angry American protesters that follow Joe Biden everywhere he goes. But nevertheless, President Trump will be up there on that stage. He is ready. And the American people deserve this. They deserve to hear directly from both candidates. This election is the gravest contrast we've ever had in American history. A former president, a current president, President Trump with a record of success, Joe Biden with a record of weakness and failures.
After they put out that video, which had 5 cuts, I would mention, in a 14-second video, Joe Biden said on Twitter, or X, excuse me, when I get up on stage, it'll be me and this grassroots team versus Donald Trump and his MAGA minions. It will be democracy versus authoritarianism, revenge and retribution versus a vision for our future. I mean, I think we see where Mr. Unity is planning to go.
Yeah, the president who campaigned on unifying the country has done more to divide the country and ridicule half of the country, millions and millions of people who believe in President Trump and his message to make this country great again. And that's exactly why this debate is necessary. President Trump has said the greatest unifier in this country is going to be success. It's going to be the security of our southern border, which only President Trump can deliver. It's going to be a rebuilding of our American economy. We had the inflation numbers, also breaking news out this morning. Inflation is over 3% for 37 months in a row because of Joe Biden's failed economic policies. All Americans were better off under President Trump's administration. That's why he's leading in the polls, and you'll hear him talk about that.
They're going to make the argument that inflation's slowing. This is proof of it. We'll see whether or not that argument holds. But you're right, Dana. There are 5 edits in that short video clip that we played. The polling numbers from the New York Times this week were dreadful. And you have to, correct. You have to think that the White House wants to go on offense. And I think that's what his campaign is trying to do, to start a conversation here. Have you talked to Trump this morning?
We have, yes.
Okay. Is he going to make any demands here? Or is he going to allow the White House to drive everything that is done with these debates?
Well, look, our teams will obviously negotiate the terms, the networks. Joe Biden's campaign team coincidentally said that this network, they don't want to have to host one of the debates. They said they'd use previous networks from 2016 and the 2020 cycles, which include ABC, CBS, Telemundo, and CNN. Look, President Trump has said, again, he'll do it anytime, anywhere, any place, and we'll let our teams negotiate.
I think I'm okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you're starting to get a little picture of what's at play here. By the way, Bill Hemmer, with all due respect, he's a nice guy. It's not the White House driving this. It's the Biden campaign. I know it's a fine distinction, but it is an important distinction. Stop saying the White House. It's the Biden campaign. But he's starting to pick up on what I'm throwing down here with regard to how this whole thing is not going to happen and it's going to fall apart. Yeah. You see, the Biden people are already putting a bunch of demands out there. And listen, I don't like the Presidential Commission on Debates. It was corrupt, as I said. It was partisan. It stacked the deck for Joe and against Donald Trump last time around. But at least there was a third party working in the negotiations. Now there is none. It's one campaign against the other campaign. And already we're getting some hints at Joe Biden's demands. They want, first of all, they don't want it on Fox News. Why? It's the most watched network. Why wouldn't they want it on Fox News? Well, you know why. So think about that for a minute. They're okay with it on CNN that nobody watches, but they don't want it on Fox News. Does that make any logical sense? They don't want a live audience, or certainly not a live audience of any size. Why not? What's wrong with that? And by the way, having a live audience, I would think, would factor into Donald Trump's favor, wouldn't it? So already they're putting that demand in there. We're also hearing that there will be no RFK Jr. They just want Trump versus Biden. Why? Now, again, I think it's fine that it's man on man, just mano a mano, but man on man, it's a very different kind of video. I'm fine with it being mano a mano. But again, these are Biden's people trying to dictate the terms here. If this was done through the Presidential Debate Commission, they would have probably allowed RFK Jr. in because his polling actually reaches the threshold. And that's the last thing that Biden wants, right? So that's why they've gone ahead and done this, because they want to bypass the Presidential Commission on Debates. But this also means that ultimately they can always say no. They can always finally say, no, you know what? Donald Trump's been unreasonable. He's put up demands that are completely ridiculous. He won't acquiesce to everything that we say. We're trying to have a meeting of the minds. He's a chicken. He's running away. So it's just not going to happen. And of course, Trump will say, that's bull. I haven't done any of that. I'll do it. I'm not. But it doesn't matter, because if Biden says it, the media will repeat it. And that's what's really, they wanted to take the third party out of the equation. They didn't want the Presidential Commission on Debates to actually say, no, it's the Biden people who are the problem here. Now it'll be, he said. We're also hearing that he only wants it hosted by NPR, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS. I already told you that. They get to pick or they have to agree to the moderator. Do you think they're going to agree to a moderator that Trump would like? You know, last time around in 2020, Trump put out a list of moderators he would be happy with. Maria Bartiromo, Brett Baer, Shannon Bream. Do you think he'll say yes to any of these? David Brody, Rachel Campos Duffy, Larry Elder, Sagar and Jetty, Harris Faulkner, Major Garrett, Michael Goodwin, Ambrosio Hernandez. Do you think that the Biden people will agree to any of those? No, of course not. They're going to agree to somebody from NPR. They're going to agree to somebody from PBS. They're going to agree to Jake Tapper. You know, they're going to agree to somebody who is already in the tank for Joe Biden. You see how this is going. You see the path this is going to lead down. Oh, and also I understand that they want a provision in there where Trump's mic is muted when Joe Biden is speaking. Yeah. This is just this is just within the last 2 hours of him accepting the debate. Just wait. Just wait until it gets even deeper and further along. They're going to keep throwing up a bunch of different demands, just like they did last time. Remember last time he didn't want to show up unless there was plexiglass in between them because Trump had COVID, you know, and everybody was double masked and this and that. This is what they're going to do. So forgive me for being skeptical, but I don't think it's going to happen. If it does, I want it to happen. Trust me. I'm begging for that. Are you kidding?
Kevin, tell me, what kind of show prep will we have to do the day after the debate? Will we even have to meet? Will there be any discussion?
No, it'll be just gold content from beginning to end.
If we have a debate between Trump and Biden for the next week, my life is so easy. It'll be like being on vacation. I do 4 hours in the morning on a radio program every day in Washington, D.C. I do this 1 hour show in the middle of the day at Town Hall. And it will be like a day at the beach because there's like, all right, let's play the video and let's comment on it. We don't have to figure anything out. Of course, I want the debate. It's not going to happen. Joe Biden cannot debate a plate of chicken. There is no way his handlers, there is no way Barack Obama will let him ruin everything by going up on a debate stage. But we'll see. According to CNN PR, they've already secured it. They just tweeted this out an hour ago. Just announced CNN will host a 2024 presidential debate between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump in Atlanta, Georgia. The debate airing live on June 27th at 9 p.m. So there you go. I still don't think it's going to happen. And does that mean, by the way, that of course, actually, I'll answer my own question. That means it'll be CNN hosts who will be moderating it. It means Jake Tapper. It means Anderson Cooper. It means Dana Bash. It means Wolf Blitzer. This is the house that brought you Jim Acosta, and they're supposed to be the fair, square debate moderators. They'll start negotiating who the moderators are. Trump people will say, well, I want Clay Travis or Buck Sexton to be up there. I want Larry O'Connor to be up there. Just one voice. You can have your 3 CNN people. Let me have one voice of somebody who isn't in the tank for Joe. The Biden people say no, and the whole thing's going to fall apart. And then they're going to say, well, he made an outrageous demand, and then the media will run with it. I could be wrong. But listen, our friend Julie Kelly, who has been reporting on the Trump trials and on January 6th better than anybody out there, she makes a pretty important observation. If this does happen, it will take place the day after 3 days of court hearings in Florida, where Trump's lawyers will be presenting evidence showing that Biden's White House colluded with the archives, colluded with DOJ to manufacture the entire Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. They're going to be presenting that argument in court the week that the debate is scheduled right now. So there's another reason why it won't happen. But I hope it does. But by the way, one other interesting tell here that I don't think anyone else has noticed, but this is why you watch this show, because I notice these things. Remember this moment of where Joe Biden's little spokesperson there, this guy was talking on MSNBC. Watch.
In June, after Donald Trump's criminal trial is likely to conclude. And
did you catch that? We're going to do this in June after Donald Trump's criminal trial is likely to conclude. Guys, isn't he going to be in jail? What? Why would you do this after the trial is over? Because he'll be a convicted felon. And he should be remanded to custody, right? Are they admitting that they know that this trial is bull? Are they admitting that they know he's not going to get convicted? Are they admitting that they can see that it's probably going to be a hung jury? Why, if you're debating somebody, and by the way, that's the other thing that they might do. In fact, this is another little card they're keeping up their sleeves. Well, he's now a convicted felon. See, this is what they'll do. This is what they'll do. If he does get convicted by this in the tank New York jury trial, then they'll say, listen, we agreed to the debate, but the man is now a convicted felon. And that is beneath the dignity of the office of the presidency. It's beneath the dignity of Joe Biden. He doesn't mix around with felons. A convicted felon should not even be eligible to be president of the United States. So we're not going to dignify him with a debate. Sure, we agreed to a debate before, but the things have changed now because now he's a convicted felon and we won't do it.
I know it's outrageous, but of course they'll get away with it. Who in the media is going to call bullshit on that? Nobody. They'll always get away with it. But we'll see. Again, like I said, I want it to happen. Please let it happen. Please. I want there to be a debate. I want there to be a debate between Biden and Trump. There is not going to be a debate between Biden and Trump. There's just not.